Welcome. I'm Joanne Geer. I'm the Executive Director for the Westchester Biotech Project. We want to welcome you to our program today on developing life science internships. You're going to be hearing from some great speakers with just wonderful lessons learned and approaches that are pre-COVID, intra-COVID, and that may survive beyond. Westchester Biotech Project was started in 2017. And our focus is on bringing together researchers, data scientists, and engineers. These are the inventors, the people who usually get the least attention in biotech organizations, and that's who we really try to focus on. We work with a lot of great partners. Some of these have been financial partners, some of them have been program partners, media partners, consulting partners, and so on. We very much appreciate, as you can see, every one of them, and we'd be very happy to welcome you if you'd like to chat about that. We run two major programs, the Career Consortium, of which today's program is one, and which focuses in large part on the sort of college age to about age 40. So it's the education of a scientist and the first 10 or 15 years of a scientist's career, which are not easy. We also partner with organizations to look at pre-college and earlier so that we're really looking holistically at tomorrow's workforce. This spring, we are launching the Westchester Data Analytics Hub, which will bring together data scientists from discovery, preclinical, clinical, patient care, and population health. We'll be seeing a lot more about that coming up. Well, here we go. We're going to start with Annette McLaughlin from Fordham University. Annette?
I've been asked to speak about today is what we're doing at Fordham University. I am the Director of Career Services at Fordham. This is my 4th year there. And we've really spent a lot of time developing collaborations with our employer partners, so you employers, as well as our academic side, to make sure that we're all coming together and making sure that there's no skill gap about what's happening in the marketplace versus what's happening in academia. And I'll talk about some of the things that we've done specifically along those lines. But first, I think it's important that we step back. Where were we a year ago versus where are we today? And Joanne kind of termed this to me a year ago, the reality of now. We're never going back. None of this is normal of what we've experienced. And there's so many highlights of positive things that have come out of the past year about what we've learned, about how we work, where we work, when we work, and how we are getting things done. So I think it's really important, we can look back where we are, and now it's really important to look forward. Where are we going and how are we going to get there? And we're really only going to get there if we come together in communities like this and collaborate and share ideas. So in that, what we've done at Fordham is we've created strategic partnerships. We're still working on our life sciences in those areas. Those are growing significantly. We have the Bronx Science Consortium, which collaborates with the Bronx Zoo, the Botanical Gardens, New York Botanical Gardens, Albert Einstein Medical School, and Montefiore. And we work on both on internships, we work on community engaged learning opportunities, service-based opportunities, and then also on research opportunities. So we really try and bring 360 degrees of the university together, from alumni to students to faculty to administrators, in order to move things forward. And that's been a very successful relationship. It culminates with the students that present research opportunities. They take a research and they work with high school students, and then they present on their topics. So for any of you employers that are here and want to get involved or interested in similar types of roles, that's a great way to start to collaborate with the employers and to give our students experience that they need in order to move forward in their careers. So we're definitely seeing those types of collaborations and partnerships that have made this year a little bit more challenging because we're remote. But the positive thing is the amount of the ability to do internships remotely from anywhere, and what we call the uncoupling of work and location. So if in the past you've had trouble getting talent because of where you work or live, now the doors have opened up and we're completely borderless. For employers, that is a little bit more challenging to manage a virtual team, but it is, and interns in particular, but this generation is absolutely amazing at being entrepreneurs. They are able to work remotely. They love working remotely. One of the things I did before coming here today was to survey the people that work in our office, our student interns. And I asked them, you know, what are the top 10 things that you look for in an internship? And one of the things is flexibility. They really want flexibility. They want authenticity. They want to know that the employers are being genuine and authentic. So what I mean by that is, if you aren't going to be able to offer a full-time job, you know, after the internship, that's fine. Just be transparent and let them know that. They love the opportunity to meet new people in the organization. So if you have interns or have people working, just make sure you're connecting them with as many people as possible, because they're really looking to leverage their experience and their connections to move themselves forward. And in the life sciences and in the sciences, the research is so key to their next steps. So making sure that they are coupled with researchers, you know, if that's the track they want to go, and that they can help and add value to your projects, which is absolutely amazing. So the trends, you know, that we see, this uncoupling of work and location, borderless societies, very entrepreneurial. So we're also seeing new things, new ideas come out of this being virtual. And we are seeing students that are just rich with new opportunities and looking at things from a different lens. So all of us need to have a new perspective as we move forward and go into this new phase of work. Other things that we've done, you know, specifically in our STEM program. So I created a STEM liaison that works directly with our STEM deans, our pre-health deans and our pre-med deans, so that we're connecting on the academic side and learning what they're learning and how they're tracking, you know, different students. In most colleges and universities, you will have a large population that come in wanting to be doctors and pre-med. And organic chemistry, by the time they hit organic chemistry, a lot of things happen and they shift and have to change direction. I'm actually experiencing that right now with my own daughter, who went in pre-med and is now shifting. So it's certainly, you know, the academic side helping advise them, and different pathways within life sciences, of which there are a million. And that's what this group is so, you know, important, that we educate the next generation so that they know all the different pathways and know how they can excel, and that not going to med school is not a failure. You know, it's just a different track. And from a student who's, you know, in their 18, 19, 20 years, when they decide they're not going to go pre-med or go that track, it's really quite devastating to their confidence. And it's really important that us as employers, as educators, we continue to show them all the rich ways they can use their sciences and make a true difference. One of the other key things that we're seeing more now than ever, and you know, being in a Jesuit institution, you know, that it's always been mission and value and purpose has always been a part of it. But right now, that is really what this generation is hungry for. They want to know that what they're doing is making a true difference. And I have to say, you know, working in life sciences in this area, you are truly making a difference. So the students are looking at your mission statements. They're looking at what you're doing. They're seeing, they like to connect a personal experience or something that's, you know, that gives them passion. And many of them have been through personal situations, and that's why they're choosing a health sciences or a science track, because of what they've been through. I was just talking to a student today who has 2 disabled parents, and that's why they're going into the health life sciences. They want to make a difference so that their parents or the next generation doesn't suffer from what they're doing. So as we talk about, you know, making sure that things are much broader than they've ever been, and taking a broad scope as to how we can continue to educate the next generation and to help us all move forward with all these great inventions. We're always looking to bring, you know, we brought in the strategic partnerships, like I mentioned, with those that are local with us. The other area that we can grow is our service learning opportunities. So for institutions that may not have funding for interns or for research, there's a lot of different ways that you can find funding. We created here at Fordham a nonprofit internship fund, a stipend. So when students, either students find that, or we're also developing our own level of employers that they don't have the money, but they have the need. So we're working and we're getting funds from alumni and advisory board members to fund nonprofit internships. If it's a for-profit, it's much more challenging to do that. But for the nonprofits, we've been able to create some stipends so that the employer gets the help that they need, the student gets the experience, and it's a win-win for everybody. So that's another key thing that you can start to, are you doing that? And how do you do that? And how do you move that forward? We're on the verge of taking that to the next level. Although right now, because of hiring freezes, I'm unable to hire my internship coordinator, but that's really the next level. Once you can build it very slowly in a pilot level, but once you get to 10 or 20 employers and the word gets out with your student base that these stipends are there, then the amount of time on the practical side and the administrative side is a lot more in depth. So the collaboration is key. Working, for you on the academic side, make sure you're working with and for you, making sure that the professors, the department heads, you're all in sync. And if you can we have monthly or quarterly meetings where we try and all get together, even informal, build those relationships. Our office, because I'm in career services, we have specific liaisons with every department so that we can target specific events when we have STEM career fairs or employers coming in to talk about life sciences and the health profession and science fields. We make sure that we're sending it to the department chairs and that we have those relationships. So it's really important that you're connecting at the right level. A lot of times our students are the ones that help. Cultural clubs or the clubs on campus is another great way. If you can make connections with the clubs, you have direct access to the students. And those clubs are always looking for outside experts to come in and talk about who they are, what they do, and how they can get experience, in the next stage of their career path. So, what we're looking for now is, this is a strategic partnership for us, coming together with this group, providing opportunities. Obviously, all of the career centers have job boards where you can post things. I know for smaller companies and startups, a lot of times you don't have full-fledged internships. That's okay. There's also a website called Parker Dewey, and that's a micro internship partner website. So that you can, if you just have a specific project, they are paid. So, but you can post on Parker Dewey's website very specific projects to make sure that you can move those, get the work done and get the students the experience they need. And students are very interested in, whatever they can grow and learn experience-wise. There are also a lot of opportunities on the academic side for research projects and special projects. We have another strategic partner that we do case studies for. So we hold a competition every year and the students come together in teams and do case competitions. So these are all creative ways to think about how we can bring this community together, how we can get the students the experience and the connections, how you as employers, how us as academics can continue to move things forward. The future is very, very bright. This generation, I think we can throw out the playbook of everything else we've ever experienced and look for new ways to do things. And every time I have a new project, I always go to our student workers and our career ambassadors and ask them, how would you approach this? What would you think? This generation is so full of great ideas. They'll also they'll tell you exactly where they stand and where you stand. So one caution as employers is that they will put things out on the internet. They will put it out on social media. So make sure that you are treating them fairly and well. Make sure that you have a good, solid social media policy and that is communicated. Make sure that you are very clear as to what is confidential and privileged information. A lot of the work that you do in science is not for public. It's not for the public. So you have to make sure that you have very good agreements and that you're very clear as to what's being worked on and what someone can, what they can put on their resume, what they can share. the students are looking for a capstone project or something that they can do that can highlight that they made a difference. And so that's how you can help them bring that all together. So these are, some of the key things that make sure that you are putting out there. I am open for, conversations to help you move things forward. I've been here, like I said, for 4 years. We've been working on specifically growing our STEM opportunities for our students and connecting. The Westchester Biotech did a great skill based on lab skills. That's something that took many years to happen, but these little side educational programs are so key for our students and so key for your employees or interns. So make sure that you're sharing all that this community is doing. So I thank you. I'll look forward to the roundtable discussion. I don't know, Joanne, did you want me to add anything else? The future is bright. We just have to embrace it and move forward and not let the past hold us back.
You're here. Here. I know I found myself the other day writing, it's not the last 30 years, it's the next 30 years, right? And I appreciate that. This is a perfect segue to listen to Jonathan Teekasingh. Jonathan, would you like to introduce yourself and take it away?
Hey everyone, thank you for that. Annette, I thought that was very helpful for me in my role, and I'd be happy to connect with you about this later on. My name's Jonathan. I'm with Pall Medical based out of Port Washington, New York. And this is my first time speaking on one of these platforms. So thank you to Joanne for inviting me. I'm currently recruiting for 2 internships starting this summer. So I'd like to talk to you guys about some of the process around how I've done this, some of the challenges and obstacles I've encountered, and also some things I've learned that I think can help others in the same position. So just a little bit about the type of role I'm looking for. Paul is a leader in the global filtration market. And to the right here are some of the products that we are a part of, that we help other companies build and are significant suppliers to making things like coronavirus test, or that little white thing there is a ventilator filter. So it's very relevant in the real world today. And specifically, so working in medical devices and diagnostics, which does fall under the biotechnology umbrella. And I'm recruiting for a sales-based internship with respect to this industry. So some things I've learned for the student, I'm looking for someone with a STEM-based education, which could be biology or chemical engineering. And the way I go about finding this student would probably be to reach out to the department head of a university that I'm familiar with or that I don't know. Just the department head sounds like a good place to target. And then a career office would also be a good idea, because just like Annette's presentation or discussion, it sounds like they have all the right tools there to help you kind of get your student for your internship. The type of person I'm looking for is a creative problem solver, and that's really all that I'm looking for. I don't care about their grades too much. I just need to know that they're innovative and able to adapt to situations. The main focus that I am offering them is to build them through experience. I want to expose them in the biotechnology world. All of these different departments are working together to achieve similar goals. So I want to give them exposure to as many cross-functional departments as possible. So for a sales-based position, you're kind of the forefront of research and development, product management, supply chain, all of these other departments that are going on in the background. You're the customer-facing part of that. So I want to give them the exposure so they can kind of figure out what do they like and what do they not like and how do they want their career to progress. One thing I found beneficial is that you have to provide a structured, organized onboarding for your intern and kind of create a classroom syllabus style format, because they are students and this is how they're used to managing their time and also commit to deadlines. Leaving things a little bit ambiguous may never really get resolved. So this was one effective way I found. Now, with, like Annette said, with coronavirus and work is now removed from the location, I want to give them autonomous tasks and collaborative tasks that they can do throughout the day on their own, but also can work with their peers and other individuals that can mentor them as well, and they can become role models for. And then one other thing Annette said, which is very important, is it has to be flexible for school and work. And especially with working from home, people are working more than ever. The whole point and one of the main things our current intern likes is the flexibility to attend class in the morning and work in the afternoon and still have a social life. So this is very important for success with the student. Going to the next slide here. Now here's kind of what I see as success for the organization. So for my company, Pall, you know, I'm helping create a talent pipeline of individuals coming out of undergrad with a STEM or biology or chemical engineering background. And then next year, I'm going to do the same thing. And the following year, I'm going to do the same thing. So I want to create a pipeline of individuals that have high potential so they can form careers in my organization. And it's just literally planting seeds. You teach these individuals and you invest in them, and in the future, they pretty much lead your team into success from a commercial standpoint or whatever division they decide that they're interested in. Currently, currently we have interns that have progressed throughout the last several years into regional and global career positions like product portfolio leaders or business development management, all for the biotechnology industry and all of its sub-industries. The way I was able to get this done is definitely a top-down approach. Because of corporate structure and organizational structure and politics, you need to have that coordination from the hiring group. In this instance, it's myself, the business leader. So it's probably someone a couple ranks up the ladder that makes that decision and sets the final budget for your interns. And then also with the human resources department for additional or replacement headcounts, discussions about pay based on the local state the individual may be in. And overall, just having a unified support system to help your intern feel comfortable as they, take this journey with you into your company. And the most important part to make that case to the coordinated group is you need to demonstrate the need to have the internship. So some data that says, hey, we would benefit from an intern here or doing these tasks. And one thing I found that was very effective with our current intern is always relate them to an example of a success story that I can tell them, hey, you can become this other person that's really popular and making all of these things happen and is the head of R&D or is the head of product management. If you just start now, if you start and get your feet in the door, and over time, you can really work yourself up to become much higher up. So I've successfully done one internship in my time so far, and I'm embarking on getting 2 more this June. And I think based on so far so good. So I welcome anybody's feedback or advice to help me do this better or faster. And the main goal is to make sure the student is satisfied and is happy with their position and would accept a full-time offer after they graduate. Thank you all for your time and for having me.
Thanks, Jonathan. That was really helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul is a big company, but within his department, he had to go through the appropriate hoops, and you made it sound really, really easy, like it all came through very smoothly, but I imagine it took a little time and a little preparation to make those discussions work for you so you could have an intern. And I think a lot of young companies have to think about that as well. And our next speakers are going to come from that perspective. So Richard Tharin and Adella Bueno work together, and they have a sort of a consulting consortium they're going to tell you about, and they are taking in interns. Richard and Adela. Thanks,
Hello,
Richard.
everyone. I'm Richard Tharin with the Cerneos Group. I'm joined by Adella Bueno of Catena Biologics. Together, we provide regulatory, scientific, and we build a village, for support for anyone in biotech. What we've learned, together, is the following: that as Annette, and Jonathan have said, it's important to have clear goals and benefits to the intern and the sponsoring agency. You should have objectives that fit interns' needs for training and skill development, that the training clearly reflects the intern's career goals and aspirations, that you have adequate resources, and that you have clear performance goals. And Annette was very clear, and I agree with her, that students, do have a good sense of perception, so it's important to recognize them as adults. You also have to define their relationship with the agreements that clearly define roles and expectations, and the goals for the interns. It's also important to have the appropriate structure for the interns to make sure that they know what's expected, what they can get out of the program, and what they're giving. And that way they can have a resume builder that's important for everyone, and a good learning experience for both interns and their sponsors. Adela and I have worked with the North Shore Technology Council and North Shore Innoventures, the Mansfield Bioincubator, and are currently working with St. Cloud State University, who's given us some guidance on this presentation. As a consulting group, we set up an account with the Handshake, which is the portal that most students use to find jobs, internships, and career fairs. What we have learned is that it's important to do a couple of things. It's important to make your contact with the Career Center, but it's even more important to find out what the students need through their associations and what the department heads are. It's important to get faculty buy-in if you want to get an academic-based internship. What we also found out is that certain states, will put extreme limits on unpaid internships. For example, it's forbidden in Massachusetts to engage, people without paying them. You also have to be aware of their visa status, because some students may not be allowed to work for pay, in the United States, depending on their visas. It's important to, what we've learned is to be straight with the students, give them some valuable tips. Don't just give them war stories, but give them tasks that you would normally give to anyone who's doing this position, and lead them. The drawbacks for sometimes with internship is having adequate staff to make sure that you're supervising their work, that they're learning adequately from the experience, and that they're producing work quality that your clients expect. We're limited in our aspects because we're a consulting group and we're a bootstrapper, so we have to find client works and have had to limit internship opportunities. To explore a little bit more about our work, Matthew, look forward to working with you and supporting all other internship projects. I'm going to put some links now in chat with some of the organizations that we've worked with. There was, just before earlier today, there was an event called the Mass STEM Summit. Sorry about that. What I've put in here, sorry, wrong. Right, excuse me. As you might suspect, STEM is becoming more and more popular with governments as the pandemic worsens. Okay, What we put in here in chat are some links to various mass-based organizations. This last one, the International Mentoring Association, was very helpful in us to designing our internship and setting up parameters for the internship. If you'd like to know more about the programs that we offer, take a look at our contact information here and our Handshake account. To explain more about relationships and science-based internships, Dr. Adella Bueno of Catena Biologics.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adela Bueno. I'm with Catena Biologics, and Richard Tharin and Cerneos Group is our partner. And I think I'm in an interesting position today because I come from, I've been in academia for over 10 years ago, and I transitioned to industry. And in academia, I always had students in the lab. I always mentor, and transitioning to industry and starting my own company, I realized I want to work with interns again, and I want to mentor again. But the interesting part, I realized mentorship in industry is very different. As this year, me and Richard, we start this program working with interns. And what I have here is a little bit like what Annette talked about, Jonathan and Richard, but I create a miro board. A miro board is like, it's like a whiteboard, and I really like this platform. The reason it's because it's not usually for presentation. I take the my permission to use it as a display tool to understand the complexity of an internship. And if you look, and maybe Joanna's going to share the slides, and you can zoom in at home to understand the complexity of organizing an internship in industry. And in this side is the life science company. On the other side is the interns, because the interns are coming in a different, from different experiences. They can come from university. They can come from changing your careers. Like Annette mentioned about the fact you realize it's not your career. And if they come from university, you need to understand, do they identify the credit which they can get for certain tasks in this position as an intern. As an expert, you need to understand their skills, the technical skills. Also the soft skills, because if you are coming in your 20s as an intern, is so different than if you are coming as an intern where you have already changed your career path. And you need to understand the career goals. As the person is at the beginning of the journey, they might have short-term goals, and you can inspire them to understand their long-term goals. And it's also this part, which is particular to every type of student. You need to understand their work goals overall, their personal goals, what they want to achieve after this internship, understand their visa status, which can be a very limiting factor for students which are coming from abroad. And also you need to teach them how to present and how to learn how to make recommendation letters for the next interview jobs which they will have. And on this side, I made it's maybe a little bit looks complicated, but actually if we discuss for each side, like you need to, when you onboard the students, there is a little bit of administrative work. They need to sign an NDA because we are talking about life science companies with lots of limitations about the technology. And that was a little bit, which I never think about that in the past, because I was in academia, it was a little bit more flexible. And you need to give them access to the Zoom, to the chat, to emails, or to maybe some file sharing system like the Box or any other Google Docs, or you need to set up a payment. You need to understand, can they be paid? You need to check the references. And this is, I would call them kind of an administrative work. You need to define a project for them. You can have a fixed project. You can have rotation. If there is a bigger group like me and Richard, we have different type of work, and they can rotate from different projects, from one project to another. And you can also assign them to a team. Many times I realize you need to identify a person who's going to be their supervisor, but also the person who's going to be their mentor. Those people are a little bit different because a supervisor understands tasks line by line, but a mentor teach them about long-term goals, short-term goals. They give them an overview about the field. And also because we are talking about people at the beginning of their journey or changing career, you need to give them additional support, like webinars, like online courses, or even resources like books. And also you need to follow up with their deliverable. You need to, or maybe they need to prepare for a project. You need to guide their journey for research, as well as define and deliver their project, and follow that whole process. And I think this Miro board helped me to kind of understand a little bit more the complexity of an internship in industry compared to academia, and hear a little bit about our company and what we do. But thanks, Joan, for this opportunity. And I like the fact you foster discussion and creating a platform for all of us to be able to mentor others and learn from each other. That's the only way we can keep growing and learn all the time.
Well, thank you, Adela, and we appreciate you as a frequent flyer, so we appreciate you being here today. So this is now the roundtable. And we're going to hear from Matt Cardin first from Iona, and then Carla Romney. I'm going to put you on board to be next, because there are lots of questions here about high school, and I'll let you talk about pre-college. But first, we'd like to hear from Matt. Matt Cardin, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hi there. I'm really excited to be part of today's discussion. Internships are something that I really have always had a passion for, and it's a topic that I really enjoy, and I've really enjoyed these presentations today. And I was jotting down some notes as we were going along. Just really quick, some background on me. I'm trained in human resources, but I've spent the majority of my career in higher education and career services. And over that course of time, I've had internships and co-ops within my portfolio for over 17 years. So I've seen internships, and I really consider myself an educator. And as an educator, we're always looking to the future and preparing that next generation. And I think experiential learning is really key and essential to preparing students for that future. Joanne, you had referenced to me in a couple of times that we've talked preparing me for the days like the next 30 years. And that's exactly how I think. And for me as an educator, partnering with industry to provide experiential learning opportunities is really doing well by the generation that we're educating and bringing up. And so to that, like with my background, I've actually spent a lot of my career being externally facing, working directly with employers and out dialoguing, having conversations. And about 8 years ago, I started a survey project where I surveyed employers who recruit on my campus to really get an understanding of what their entry-level hiring, what they're looking for in terms of the skills and competencies, to make sure that the learning out goals as an educator are kind of helping meet, and there's some alignment there. And some general themes that I've collected in those data points over the years is, one, communication skills, always a real big one, right? We want people who are talented and bright and can present ideas and data. A growth mindset, someone who's curious, someone who's interested in learning, so as an educator, how can I inspire students to, to continue learning, continually adding to their skill set, how critical that is. The status quo in our workforce today is not possible, right? It's not an option. And sometimes when a student goes on an internship and it's structured, and a lot of people on this call today talked about the structure, they can come back off of that internship so excited about what they're studying in the classroom, what they're seeing in the workplace, to get them to that degree completion. But then it just, hopefully inspires them for a lifetime, right? And it can be really transformative. Creative problem solving was another, and Jonathan, you said it. I jotted it down, and it was in my own talking points. I mean, that's something I've just heard over and over for years, right? That interdisciplinary approach to problem solving, right? Like being able to think outside your own discipline or academic training, and that intellectual agility to help solve problems out in the workplace, right?
Yeah.
Because within the workplace, I mean, the world isn't organized by academic major like we do in higher ed, right? So, so it requires us to stretch our minds a bit. And then the fourth is the application of knowledge, right? It's not just about knowing stuff; it's about the ability to apply it and and to create work with it in the workplace. That's really critical, and that's where I think internships have that really key element to really help our students apply that classroom learning and practice that application of knowledge to really kind of help prepare them to be successful. A lot of the points that people made today, I think, are right on point with the, in terms of designing an internship program, doing it extremely intentionally, where it can create a strong partnership between the employer and the college that helps you meet, marry some of your business needs and some of your talent acquisition needs with some of the goals that we have in terms of that learning and what we're trying to create in those different learning environments. At Iona specifically, what we're doing right now, and I'm really excited about, is about a year, we have a brand new president who came in about 2 years ago, and we just launched a new initiative, and our new college tagline is learning outside the lines. And we're really emphasizing the importance of experiential learning. So we're really encouraging our students to complete internships, participate in undergrad research with faculty, community-based learning, community service projects, study away, study abroad, field work, you name it. We're really trying to encourage all our students to have some type of experience like that before they graduate, when they have that chance to apply their knowledge. And so we're really looking to build up our internships in the years to come. We just, if you're in the Westchester area, probably saw the news in terms of us acquiring Concordia College, just the land, not the college itself. And so that's going to increase our campus footprint by about 70%, which is really big. We're hoping to grow a lot of our health services over time and then build out that campus for ourselves. In the years to come, we're really looking to forge a lot more employer partnerships and relationships. And also, just as a side note, on Monday, I posted, I'm looking for a director of career development to lead my career development center. So that's just a quick shameless plug there. If you know anyone in the higher ed market who has a background in career services, I'm looking to make a hire this summer. And yeah, I'll kind of pin it there.
Well, thank you. That's fantastic, Matt. That's wonderful. Carla Romney. So Carla has been with us from the beginning. We met her through Annette, and she is the co-chair of our whole career consortium. So if you've been looking at the chat, you see there's a lot of discussion about high school. So Carla, do you want to take that on?
I can certainly take that. So first of all, I want to say thank you to Joanne, Michael, for really convening this today. For Matt, behind the scenes, who's really helping facilitate and get us all in here. For Matt Cardin's wonderful comments a few moments ago. And certainly, and this is intentionally last because perhaps most important, to Annette McLaughlin, for whom otherwise I would not be here today. So Annette, a special shout out to you.
Thank you to Richard and Adela. Always great to hear from you. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Matt. It's really been a terrific conversation, and we look forward to a lot of follow-up.